Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14. Daivi Shesha Gunamayi Mama Māyā Duratyaya Māmeva ye prapadyante Māyā me tam taranti te. Daivi, transcendental. He, certainly. Esha, this. Gunamayi, consisting of the three modes of material nature. Mama, my. Māyā, energy. Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. Mam, unto me. Eva, certainly. Ye, those who. Prapadyante, surrender. Māyām, etam, this illusory energy. Taranti, overcome. Te, they. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Please repeat. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport: The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of His energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows: Māyām tu prakritim vidyān Māyinam tu Maheshwaram. Although Māyā, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Māyā is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwar, the supreme controller. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.10. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can cause this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of His causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of His paternal affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Māmeva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna or Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna or passion and Tamoguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Māyā. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Māyā. Only Vishnu is the master of Māyā. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8, confirm this in the phrase Tameva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnurevana Samshayah. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. So this is a very important verse of Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important verses. So Daivi Hiesha Gunamayi Mama Māyā Duratyaya Māmevaye Prapadyante Māyā Metam Tarantite. So this Māyā or illusory energy is also known as Durga. Durga means very difficult to come out. Ga means Gamayam or journey out. So Gantavya means destination. So Ga means Gamanam. So it comes from that root word. So Gamanam means to go. Durga means, Dur means, the prefix Dur means difficult or negative. Su means easy or positive. Like Sugandha, Durgandha. That means fragrance or stench. So like that, Durga means very difficult to overcome. That is the meaning of the word Durga. So Durga is the prison warden of this material world. This material world is a prison. However nice it may be to look at, but actually by nature it is a prison. We don't see the bars. Prison has a door and a bar, bars, but we don't see the bars. Krishna is so expert at creating this prison that we don't even need bars. In fact, even when Krishna comes, when his bona fide representatives come to take us out, still we are reluctant to go, no, I want to stay here. People don't want to follow Krishna consciousness. They want to stay in this material world. They want to be happy here. Which prisoner wants to be happy in a prison? Real intelligence means, why don't I come out of the prison? Of course, first class intelligence means, why should I go into the prison? I should not commit any crime. But we all have made the mistake. What was our crime? Our crime was to go against Krishna. We actually don't belong here. This is not our home. Our home is Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. Vaikuntha means Vigata Kuntha Yasmaditi Vaikuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. Vigata Kuntha means where there is no, is devoid of anxiety. In this material world, every step is anxiety. But Vigata Kuntha Yasmaditi Vaikuntha. There is no misery there, no anxiety. Birth is an anxiety. Death is an anxiety. Disease is anxiety. Old age is anxiety. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. So these are the miserable conditions of the material world. And even though we know it is miserable, still we are working very hard to create our own empire in this material world. We are, trying to make a lot of money and make ourselves comfortable in this material world. Ultimately, we are not going to stay. At the end of the day, we have to be separated from our possessions and our so-called friends and relatives, and even our enemies for that matter. We have to separate. And then the thing is, it's not that after death everything is finished. No. We'll go and take another birth. And like this we have been transmigrating life after life for millions and trillions of years. This universe to give you an idea of how long we have been here. This universe lasts as long as Lord Brahma lasts. His lifetime, Brahma's lifetime, is the lifetime of this universe. So Brahma lasts for 100 years of his time. Now there is a relativity of time. The time on earth and the time on higher planets and the lower planets are different. Albert Einstein kind of a little bit touched upon this theory of relativity. But this has been long existing in the Vedic literature. In the Bhagavad Gita 8:17, if you go and see, there is a time. Relativity is already mentioned here. In fact, much more precisely, which even Albert Einstein does not know. Modern scientists, they do not know. So 8.17, Krishna says, Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduh ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. So 1,000 ages. What is his age? Age is a kalpa. Here it is mentioned as yuga. Yuga also means sometimes is divya yuga, which is on kalpa. So one kalpa means one cycle of the 4 yugas. There are 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. So altogether these 4 yugas span a total of 4.32 million years. Then one cycle is completed. Then the second cycle starts. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, and again Satya, Treta. Like January, February, all the way December, again January. Next year. So like that, there are bigger cycles of time. And there are seasonal, these are all seasons. These yugas are actually seasons of religiousness. Satya Yuga people are most religious. All are religious. There is not a single person who is not religious. Satya Yuga. And it lasts for 1.728 million years. And at that time, human lifetime, every human used to live for, average age was 100,000 years. 1 lakh. 100,000 years every human used to live. Then came Treta Yuga. 25% of irreligion was introduced. But still 75% were religious. And when you say religious, not just some vague faith and all. No. Very, very staunch, with full understanding, scientific understanding of God. And that lasts 1.296 million years. In that age, human beings have a lifetime of 10,000 years. So from 100,000 it has reduced to 10,000, reduced by 10 times. Now Dwapar Yuga lasts for 864,000 years, and 50% of irreligion is introduced. And then it will deplete down to 75% of irreligion at the end of Dwapar Yuga and beginning of Kali Yuga. And in that age, human beings used to live for 1,000 years. And then, so again divided by 10,000 to 1,000. Then Kali Yuga is the worst age of all, where 75% of irreligion at the beginning and it depletes all the way to 0. It's complete irreligion. And it's already, you can see, we have only passed 5,100 years in Kali Yuga. This Kali Yuga lasts for 432,000 years, of which 5,100 have only passed. 427,000 years are remaining. Just imagine what else is to come. So these 4, so again this is all irreligion. Then again Satya Yuga starts, where people again become religious. So Kalki comes and he kills all the irreligious people at the end of Kali Yuga, and again Satya Yuga revives. So in this way, the cycles are going on forever. So 1,000 such cycles. Now if you calculate these 1.728, 1.296, 864,000 and 432,000 put together, it comes to 4.32 million years one cycle. So So 1,000 such cycles is 4.32 billion years with a B. And that is one day of Brahma. This is the relativity of time. And such is the duration of Brahma's one night also. So when we say day of Brahma, not 24 hours, only 12 hours. Like sunrise to sunset. That is 4.32 billion. So night is another 12 hours, another 4.32 billion, which is altogether 8.64 billion years is one day of Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 years of such time. So if you calculate, it will come to 311 trillion 40 billion years. That is the lifetime of Brahma, and that is the lifetime of the universe. After that, this universe will be destroyed, and again after some time, again new universes will be created. This is not only one universe, there are millions and millions of universes. All together, this is called the material nature. Now, we have been through not one creation, but millions and millions of creations. So, in this lifetime of Brahma, 100 years, Brahma has already finished 50 years. This is his 51st year that is going on. Dviparardha. I think there is a verse in Bhagavatam which states this. And that is that is the supreme lifespan. No, that Brahma is in the second Parardha now. I think third canto somewhere. 11, 10, 30. Okay, we will see again this number again. Lokanam lokapalanam madbhayam kalpajivinam brahmanopi bhayam matto dviparardha parayushaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 10, 30. 11th canto, 10th chapter, verse number 30. In all the planetary systems from the heavenly to the hellish, for all of the great demigods who live for 1,000 yuga cycles, there is fear of me in my form of time. Krishna is saying this. Even Brahma, who possesses the supreme lifespan of 311 trillion 40 billion years, is also afraid of me. This is Krishna. Krishna is speaking this to Uddhava, his very dearmost friend. In fact, the Uddhava is more dear to him than even Arjuna. So close was the friendship between Krishna and Uddhava. Where is that one? There is this 3:11:34. I think this is the one. Yeah, 3:11:34. Yadardham mayushastasya parardham abhidhiyate purvah parardho pakranto hyaparodya pravartate. The 100 years of Brahma's life are divided into two parts, the first half and the second half. The first half of the duration of Brahma's life is already over, and the second half is now current. So we are just entered into the second half actually, Dviparardha. Then, that means 50 years of Brahma, 311 you divide by 2, 155 billion 520 million years have passed within this creation, and we have been taking birth and dying, for 155 trillion 40, 520 million years. Billion, sorry, not even million, billion. Look at this. That time, how many lives you would have taken? Suppose now, in this human life, say 60 years, 70, 80 years, 100 years, let's say. Just say, never mind, every life will take 100 years. Actually, no. Insects only last a few hours sometime. Some for a few months, some for whatever. So even if we take 100, in 1,000 years, already 10 lives. 10,000, there are 100 lives. 100,000, 1,000 lives. 1 million, 10,000 lives. 1 million only. We are talking about trillions and billions. Just imagine how long we have spent in this material world, just taking birth and dying, taking birth and dying. what is that? Ashitim chaturashchaiva lakshamstan jivajatishu brahmadbhir purusham. What is that? I forgot the last two lines. Manusham janma paryayat tadapi abhalatam jatah tesham atmabhimaninam varakanam anashritya govinda charanadvayam. So this verse says, these two verses actually same. The first verse, last two lines a bit, forgot the Sanskrit of it. So these two verses same, that ashitim chaturashchaiva laksham stan jiva jatishu brahmadbhir purusham manusham janma paryayat is the last line. The third line is what? Prapyam. Yes. Brahmadbhir purushaihe prapyam. Brahmadbhir purushaihe prapyam manusham janma paryayat. Yes. Tadapi abhalatam jata tesham atma bhimanina varakana manashritya govinda charanadvayam. Now 8.4 million species. Ashitim chaturashchaiva means laksham, means 84 lakhs or 8.4 million species of life are there. And after transmigrating through millions and millions of species, 8 million of them are below humans and 400,000 human species. When we say human species, even our different races among human beings are considered different species. And demigods, devatas, they are also actually human beings but of a much higher grade. So such human being species are 400,000. Even that is, there is demarcation of these species also. How many? Like Jalajanava lakshani sthavara alakshavimsati krimayorudra sankhyanah pakshinam dashalakshanam trimshal lakshah chatushpada chatul laksham manushah. Division of all these species. 900,000 types of fish in the water. Species. 2 million types of trees. 1.1 million types of insects and reptiles. 1 million types of birds. 3 million types of four-legged animals and 400,000 human species. And these are distributed all over the universe on different planets. Not only that there's only one planet is full of life and the whole universe is empty. No. Every planet is congested with life just as this planet is. Modern scientists have no eyes to see life on other planets. They may do all they can to go to other planets. They will never be able to see. But we get information from the Shastra that every single planet is full of life. Now all this life, what are they doing? They are taking birth and dying. So we have been doing this for very, very long. That's why this material world is called Durga. Very difficult to overcome. Mama Māyā Dura Atyaya. Dura Atyaya. Atyaya means to cross. Duratyaya. Difficult. In fact, impossible. It is only said difficult because there is a possibility. If we surrender to Krishna, we can. And that is the only way it is possible. If we don't take shelter of Krishna, it's just impossible. Because Māyā is conducting her. Another name of Durga is Vaishnavi Devi. Vaishnavi Devi means she is a devotee. See, what is Vaishnavi? Means a female devotee of Vishnu. Vishnu's devotee is called Vaishnava and female means Vaishnavi. So Vaishnavi Devi means she is a devotee of Vishnu and therefore she follows the order of Vishnu or Krishna. What is her order? And what is his order for her? That is explained here. Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka chhaye vayasya bhuvanani vibharti durga ichhanurupam api yasya cha cheshtate sa govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This is his duty for her. This is her duty as she has received from Govinda. What is that? The external potency Māyā, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga. the creating, preserving and destroying agency of this mundane world. Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya. Everything is within her control. She is so powerful, but she is like a shadow. Chhayeva yasya bhuvanani bibharti Durga. She is like the shadow. Just like when you move, your shadow also moves with you without any disobedience, right? It's not say, oh, shadow will say, oh, I'll come later. No, shadow will also move with you. So, Durga is, what is that? Promptly carrying out the orders of Govinda like a shadow. Destroying agent, creating, preserving and destroying the entire material world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. So she is actually like a maidservant of Krishna, Durga. And she is doing this all very, very powerful work, but she is just following the orders of Krishna. That's all. And what is his order to her? Keep these rascals bound to this material world until they surrender to me. It's not that Krishna actually wants us to be bound. There is no other way we can live if we give up Krishna. For a devotee, even in this devotee of Krishna, even in this world he will be happy. Now, although it is said the dukkha doshana darshanam, it's full of miserable, this world is miserable place. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam, anityam asukham lokam. So many places it is said it's temporary life and full of miseries. But for a devotee, he is very happy even in this material world. Vishwam purna sukhayate. For a devotee. Why? Because he is always taking shelter of the Lord. He doesn't even feel these miseries. So he is not punished by the laws of nature, even though he may be in this material world, because he is always devotee of Krishna. And does it mean that he doesn't undergo death and all that? No, his body will undergo all those things, but he doesn't feel any pain. There is a nice example of this. Deham chanashvaram avasthitam utthitam va siddho na pashyati yatodhyagamat swarupam daivadapetam atha daivavashadupetam vaso yatha parikritam madhiramadantha. It's a very beautiful verse. Just as a drunken man does not notice if he is wearing his coat or shirt, similarly, one who is perfect in self-realization and who has thus achieved his eternal identity does not notice whether the temporary body is sitting or standing. Indeed, if by God's will the body is finished, or if by God's will he obtains a new body, a self-realized soul does not notice, just as a drunken man does not notice the situation of his outward dress. Just look at the example. A drunken man is intoxicated. He doesn't know his outward situation. Where he is lying down, he doesn't know. He may be lying down on the road, but he doesn't even know. He is just gone. Why? Because he was intoxicated. Similarly, a self-realized soul is also intoxicated with the happiness of Krishna consciousness. You see, the drunken man, he may be intoxicated and he is completely out of his bodily identification, but next day when he wakes up, he will wake up with a hangover. But in Krishna consciousness, the ecstasy just continues. There is no hangover. So he is always high. Eternally he is high on the Krishna consciousness. He never comes down. So that is the difference. So on the one extreme there is this drunken man in the mode of ignorance, and on the Shuddha Sattva, on the pure goodness, there is the self-realized soul who is also intoxicated. Ramante yoginonante satyanande chidatmani iti rama padena so param brahma bhidhiyate. There is a verse which says that ramante yogina anante. The self-realized soul, he enjoys unlimited pleasure. Now the pleasure that comes from drinking, or the pleasure that comes from sex, the pleasure that comes from eating or whatever, everything is limited. It's very, very flickering and very, very short-lived. But Ramante Yoginonante Satyanande Chidatma. Satyananda. This is Satyananda, not Asatyananda. This happiness is real. Chidatmani iti Ramapadena asau param brahma vidhi. That source of eternal pleasure is Rama. Ramachandra Bhagavan, or Rama also means Balaram, or another name of Krishna is also Ram, because he takes pleasure. He is the reservoir of all pleasure. He attracts everyone. So, Krishna or Ram, his name is filled with that pleasure. And the person who chants the holy name of Krishna in a pure consciousness, he feels that pleasure, which cannot be replaced by anything in this material world. Unfortunately, they say that name only when a person dies. Ram Nam Satya. When he is living, they will never say the name. He is not chanting. When he died, then they say Ram Nam Satya. That Satya Nam, even these Gurudwara, Punjabi Sikh religion, they also say Satnam Vaheguru. Satnam, who is that Satnam? This is Ram or Krishna. Satyananda Chidatmani. So, this is the position of a self-realized soul. Even in this material world, it doesn't, even if his body may go on death or disease or whatever, he is not, he is unflinching in his focus on Krishna. So much so that it doesn't matter to him whether his body got cancer or he died in an accident or whatever happened, it doesn't matter to him. Absolutely doesn't matter. Guru Nath, yes, let's go to the place. There are 4 verses here together they mentioned. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmana atmanam pashyannatmani tushyati sukham atyantikam yattad buddhigrahyam atindriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam sthitas-chalati tattvataha yam labdhva chaparam labham manyatenadhikam tatah yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate Tattvavit tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samyitam. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. Self with a capital S, you see there? That means the super self or the Paramatma. In that joyous state, one is, you see, that is very joyous state. One is situated in boundless transcendental happiness. Boundless means there is no boundary for that happiness. Oh, here is the happiness ending, the boundary of that. No boundless. Boundless transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Freedom from miseries does not mean that you will never get any misery. No. Even the most miserable situation comes, you are not feeling anything. That is real freedom. Like Pandavas. Whole life was full of trials and tribulations. Whole life. They only won the war when they were 89 years old. 90 years. Imagine you winning you're having a good time when, people are crying, hey, my Shani period has started. Shani Mahadasha. For 19 years or what? 16 years or 19 years? 16 or 19? I think 19. So, 19 years Shani Mahadasha or Rahu Kalam started, Prabhu. What to do? For them, 90 years of Rahu Kalam. 90 years. They, Kurukshetra war, when Arjuna won the war, he was 89 years old. Until then they were oppressed, suppressed, depressed. No, they were not depressed. They were not depressed. They were very happy. Even in the forest they were there. Even in some hiding somewhere they were there. They lost. Their wife was disrobed. but still they were just Krishna conscious. They never once questioned, Krishna, why are you doing this to us? Never once questioned. Not like, this Bollywood or Telugu movie or Tamil movie, where something, hero, he prays to God and something, it does not happen. And then he goes to the temple, are you really there? If you're really there, why is this happening? Then all the wind will start and the bells will start ting, 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 and then, oh, God will come out from the, the murti and then do something. Please, this goes on in movies. In fact, when you challenge like that, the God will be more silent for you. Oh, you want to challenge me? Okay, you will never see me. You try what you want. You cannot call God by a challenge like that. How to call God? By devotion. Krishna will, Aham Bhakta Paradhina. You see, Krishna became driver for his devotee. He is ready to do this, but only for a devotee. Not somebody who comes and challenges, are you really there? You don't have the slightest faith and I must surrender to you. Yes, Prabhu, I am there. Sir, I am here. Like a waiter or what? Servant. No, he will not. He will never come. And the wind also will not come to move the bells. Nothing will happen. If the wind comes, you will be carried away by the wind and thrown away somewhere. That's all will happen. Some typhoon will come and you will be destroyed in the typhoon. So these are all good for movies, but it is not going to happen in real life. The more we challenge, the more Krishna will cover himself. You see what he says. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Why I have to show myself to rascals who challenge me? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam na abhijanati loko mam ajamavyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and inexhaustible. I am never manifest. Māyā javanikāchannam ajñādhokshajam avyayam. Another place, Kunti Devi, the mother of the Pandavas, she is saying very nicely. See, 2 verses she says. Kunti uvacha namasye purusham tvadyam ishwaram prakriteः param alaksham sarva bhutanam antar bahiravasthitam. O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. Obeisances means pranam. Because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, and yet you are invisible to all. And again she qualifies for whom you are invisible. Who are the kind of persons to whom you are invisible? Māyā javanikāchannam ajñādhokshachamavyajam nalakshase mūಢadrisha nato natyadharo yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You see, like this curtain now is going to close. You see? Jai Shri Shri Radha. For a person who comes now, he cannot see Krishna. So Māyā is like this curtain. Māyā javanika. Javanika means curtain. Achanna means covered. For a non-devotee, Krishna is right there, but he cannot see. Māyā javanika channam ajñādhoksha. Timing, you see, we are quoting this verse and curtain is closing. Practical demonstration of Māyā. You are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. If a person is really good dramatist and is really good at makeup, you can't even recognize the way he acts is completely different from the way he normally behaves. That is a really good actor. They call it a method actor, right? Method actor means he really gets into the shoes of that role. He really gets into the mood of that role until you cannot even recognize that how is his mannerism so different from what he is actually. So Krishna is similarly to the foolish observer, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, Mūఢadrisha, Nalakshase, he is not visible. But if you want to see him, then we have to go only with devotion. With devotion, yes, then he becomes pleased. Then he will himself show. In fact, so much so that even if the Lord wants to hide from the devotee, he cannot hide. He cannot hide. So that is explained here by Yamunacharya. उल्लंघित त्रिविध सीम समातिशायी संभावनं तव परिव्रढिम स्वभावं माया बलेन भवतापि निगुह्यमानं पश्यन्ति केचिदनिशं त्वदनन्य भावा. O my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space and thought. Your characteristics, however, are being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations of time, space and thought. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. A pure devotee, now this curtain is closed, right? A pure devotee can still see Krishna. We cannot see. There was once this incident where Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur, I don't know how many, I think the devotees have been to Mayapur. I think among you, anybody been to Mayapur? You have not been to Mayapur, right? It's in Bengal, 4 hours from Kolkata. Right. Because the road is horrible, otherwise it would have been 2 hours. That's another thing. But so in that temple, there is a beautiful temple. Radha Madhav and Ashtasakhi, huge deities. Beautiful. So when Radha Madhav was installed and Ashtasakhi was installed, the altar is also huge. Krishna is 8 feet tall. Radharani herself is 6 feet 4 inches tall. Huge deities. Now, so Prabhupada's, this Vyasasana, this seat, they were putting, at the other end of the hall, which is quite big hall, very big hall. So the devotees asked Prabhupada, is this okay if we keep your asan here right across, because it's quite far? Will you be able to see Krishna? Then Prabhupada said there is no separation between the spiritual master and Krishna. He eternally sees him. The devotees were like, oh. They forgot. You see, they are calculating Prabhupada as an ordinary living entity. But he reminded them, there is no separation between me and Krishna. So the spiritual master eternally sees Krishna. Yam Shama Sundaram Achinti Gunaswarupam. What is that? Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santah Sadaiva Hridayeshva Bhakti Vilo. What is that? No. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santah Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinti Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Santah Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. He is always seeing. Because Premanjana Churita, he is with Prema. Prema means love of Godhead. In this world, whatever goes on in the name of Prema is just karma. They say, I love you, nonsense. This is all lust only. There is no love there. I am happy by seeing you, that's why I love you. Similarly, they say, I love chicken also. That means what? They will kiss the chicken? No, they will eat it. So they want to enjoy. No. So that is their meaning of love. That I am enjoying by looking at you. Because you are giving me enjoyment, that's why I like. So that love is nonsense. Love means only for the benefit of the other person. Like the gopis, Radharani. Radharani says, if Krishna becomes happy by putting me into distress, that distress is my greatest happiness, because Krishna is happy. I don't mind the distress. I am prepared to go to hell. Prabhupada also said, I am prepared to go to hell for the service of Lord Chaitanya. So that is love. For Krishna, anything. Even if that means hell to me, I will do it for Krishna's pleasure. Oh, he should be happy. That is the whole nice story. Very many times we mentioned the headache of Krishna. We did a drama also for Janmashtami. This is the theme of that whole story. Krishna once had a headache in Dwarka. He is a king, no? He is a supreme personality. But in the Dwarka he was a king, he had a headache. So Narad Muni was passing by and saw him, he was having a headache, he was holding his head like this. What happened, Krishna? No, I am having a headache. Alright, if you have a headache, how will this world run? This must be your Leela. Tell me what the medicine is. I know you want me to give me some seva. You give, please tell me what the medicine is. I will bring it. Then I can do some seva for you. The medicine is, Krishna says, take some dust from the feet of my devotee and put it on my forehead, it will go away. That is the ointment I need. Some dust from the feet of my devotee. So very easy, Dwaraka is full of devotees, I'll go. And then he announced in the Dwaraka city square, please come. Your master is having a big headache and he wants some dust from the feet of all of your devotees. He said, dust from the feet of his devotees will cure. So you are all great devotees, please give some dust from your feet. Everybody started scolding Narada. What are you talking about? How can we put our foot dust on Krishna's head? We have to put his foot dust on our head. We are servants, he is master. You want us to go to hell or what? And Narada, okay. First actually he asked his wives before he went to city square. First of all he thought the wives will be very ready because the husband is having headache. So he asked Rukmini Devi, please give some dust from your feet. She said, Sadhu, you are a sadhu, you are not supposed to tell bad advice like this. How can a wife, give the foot dust to husband's head? What is this? What kind of pativrata you are teaching? You are brahmachari, you don't talk about pativrata, go out. You don't know anything about family affairs. Then he went to city square, there also they rejected. And he came back to Krishna and said, Krishna, this is too difficult. First of all, he himself is a devotee. But because a devotee is humble and doesn't think he is a devotee, he was not giving his own foot dust. So in the end, he came back to Krishna and said, Krishna, this is too difficult. I thought it was a very simple issue. But now I am in the middle of the entire controversy in Dwarka now. Everybody is telling my name and everybody is scolding me, cursing me. What have you done? What kind of leela is this? Krishna said, you go to Vrindavan and ask the gopis. They will give. Only they will give. Then he went to Vrindavan. He asked the gopis with a very nervous attitude because Dwarka already his reputation gone. Now Vrindavan, I don't know what will happen. So he went to gopis and he was like stammering and stuttering and saying the Krishna he is having a headache. Headache? How? What is his medicine? He wants some the dust from your feet, some devotee's feet. Please give them. Why are you taking so long? Just tell na. Here, take all the dust you want. Then Narada was surprised. What? Take all the dust you want. You are not worried about going to hell by giving your foot dust to Krishna's head. You are not worried about hell. Who cares about hell? Let us go to hell, never mind. The Krishna's headache must be solved. Who cares about our hell? We are prepared to go to hell. No problem. Then Narada understood, this is actual devotion. This is the highest stage of devotion. They don't care about going to hell also. Krishna must be happy. So, that is the surrender. When you say, Māyā prapadyante, those who surrender to me means what? How to come out of Māyā? One must have this attitude. Have anything for Krishna. Now, we are in a position when we are asked to chant Krishna's name only. We are struggling. What to speak of, going to hell and all these things. No. Chant Krishna's name, we are struggling. There is a nice verse for foolish people like us. Is this the one? Actually, before 12.3.43 and 44 also. Kalo narajan jagatam param gurum Trilokanathānata pada pankajam Prayena martya bhagavantam achyutam Yakshanti pashanda vibhinna chetasaha. You see, O king, in the age of Kali, that means in Kali Yuga, people's intelligence will be diverted by atheism. This was mentioned way before Kali Yuga happened, please. This is such good is the prediction of Bhagavatam. In the age of Kali, people's intelligence will be diverted by atheism and they will almost never offer sacrifice to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Spiritual Master of the universe. Although the great personalities who control the three worlds all bow down to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, the petty and miserable human beings of this age will not do so. Brahma, Shiva, Durga, all Indra, Chandra, everybody is bowing down their helmets at the feet of Krishna. In this age, the human beings will not. They will be like heads held high. Too much pride. They are not even willing to chant the holy name of Krishna. not to speak of anything else. Then next you see, Yannamadheyam riyamana aturah patan skhalan va vivasho grinan puman vimukta karmar galahuttamam gatim prapnoti yakshyanti natam kalau janah. Terrified, about to die, a man collapses on his bed. Although his voice is faltering and he is hardly conscious of what he is saying, if he utters the holy name of the Supreme Lord, he can be freed from the reaction of his fruitive work, that means karma, and achieve the supreme destination. But still, people in the age of Kali will not worship the Supreme Lord. Rascals of the first order means is Kali Yuga population. If you want definition of rascal, the Kali Yuga population is exactly the complete definition of rascal. So we should not be rascal. Sumedhasa, those who are intelligent in this Kali Yuga, they will worship Krishna. Those who have no brains, useless rascals, they will not worship Krishna. So I want to be, it's our choice whether I want to be a useless rascal or whether I want to be a proper intelligent person. Everybody wants to be intelligent, right? So Krishna says, Bhagavatam says, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yajnaihi Sankirtana Prayayir Yajantihi Sumedhasah. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting. Just now we did Kirtan. This intelligent persons perform congregational chanting. Not only this, that is Kirtan. This is also Kirtan. Bhagavad Gita we are hearing. This is also Kirtan. Kirtan means the glorification of the Lord. It can be with music, it can be with speech also. We are all congregating now and hearing about Krishna. So in this age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the names of Krishna. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. His complexion is golden, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons and confidential companions. So, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, they all are. So, that's why we say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda means group. Vrinda means group. Gaura Bhakta means devotees of Gaura or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shrivasa Adi. So the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu headed by Shrivas, who is the foremost of all devotees, Shrivas Thakur, Shrivas Pandit. So Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this is exactly this verse. If we therefore perform or chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then that is the sign of intelligence. Otherwise we are foolish. So in this age of Kali, it is actually easiest. What is that? Kalau tasya krita yuge. Vishnu Dharma. Kalau krita yugam tasya kalistasya krita yuge yasya chetasi govindo hridaye yasya nachutaha. For one who has Lord Govinda in his heart, Satya Yuga becomes manifest in the midst of Kali. Satya Yuga people we wish, why did I take birth in Kali Yuga? I should have been in Satya Yuga. What is this bad time? Unfortunate. But it cannot be unfortunate if one chants Krishna, Hare Krishna. You see, for one who has Lord Govinda in his heart, Satya Yuga becomes manifest in the midst of Kali. And conversely, even Satya Yuga becomes Kali Yuga for one who does not have the infallible Lord in his heart. Just like this is the time, bad time or good time. When you are in Krishna conscious, any bad time will be good time. In fact, to be very honest, many people become devotees in their Shani Dasha. I became devotee in Shani Dasha. You also? Because the difficulty comes, then only you will come to Krishna. Otherwise, you are partying somewhere, dancing in the club. When the difficulty, then you will dance here. So many people become, actually that is good time, that means. Because materially when we are attacked a little bit, our happiness is attacked, then we have some sense we will come to Krishna. Some thought of Krishna comes into our mind. And if the thought of Krishna comes into your mind, that is auspiciousness. Whereas in your so-called good time, if I forgot Krishna, that is bad time. So actually, this is how Krishna works. So the Kali Yuga becomes Satya Yuga, as good as Satya Yuga, if we remember Krishna. So this is the time, bad time or good time. Similarly, place also, not only time, but place also. Even if it is hell, if I am Krishna conscious, it is more than heaven. That is also there. Narayana para sarve nakutascha bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinah. So time and place, there is no limit. There is nothing. That's why it is called apratihata. Nothing can stop, whether time or place or anything can stop the devotion of a devotee. Narayana para sarve nakutascha bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinah. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. All the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. So for them, they don't mind going to hell. They don't mind Sanidasha. They don't mind Rahu Kalam. Nothing they mind. They don't mind death also. They don't mind. Because in any time and place, their devotion to the Lord is uninterrupted. Bhajanti ananya manaso. Not deviated by anything. Whether even by happiness also. We have to tolerate distress, but we also have to tolerate happiness. Because happiness is more intoxicating than distress. In distress, at least, you are forced to think of God. But in happiness is the worst. Material happiness I am talking about. Is the worst because it will make you forget God. You think suddenly that you are the all-powerful person who made everything happen. Then you will completely lose. That is the worst. Even the devatas, in Swargalok, everybody want to have Swarga Prapti. Swarga Prapti ho gaya, mera Pitaji ka Swarga Prapti ho gaya. Let us see what is in Swarga. First of all, let us see this one. Okay, I will show you one verse and then I will show you another verse. Evam lokam param vidyan nashvaram karma nirmitam satulyatishayaddhamsam yatha mandalavartinam. Okay, those who want Swarga Prapti, here, some glimpse of Swarga. One cannot find permanent happiness even on the heavenly planets. Which one can attain in the next life? By ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. If you do this puja, that puja, this homam, that homam, you can get to Swarga, but no permanent happiness. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by rivalry with his equals. There is rivalry, competition in heavenly planet. Just like we also think, Arey, look at that king of Bhutan, not Bhutan, what is it? Brunei. King of Brunei, or say Elon Musk, let's say a more popular personality, Elon Musk, very rich. If only I had that much money, all my problems would have been solved. We are thinking like that. Elon Musk is fighting legal battles every day. He is fighting this case or that case or whatever. He has so many problems to think about. This company is doing bad, that plant is doing bad, this employee is doing some nonsense. He has a million problems. We think only from our position that, that position is very nice. He is living heavenly life. But you go to his position, then you will understand it is not heavenly. It is, at that stage there is still rivalry. There is still, like, he is doing SpaceX and our who? Blue Origin. What is his name? Jeff Bezos. Blue Origin. He also went to space, no? No, this some Virgin Atlantic. What is his name? Virgin Galactic. What is his name? Richard Branson. He also went to space. There is a competition there also. So now, in the heavenly planets also there is competition like that. There is rivalry with his equals and envy of those superior to him. All these things what we find here are also there. You mean rich people don't have all these qualities, with these base qualities? They also have. Similarly, heavenly also have. And since one's residence in heaven is finished with the exhaustion of pious fruitive activities, the denizens of heaven are afflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of their heavenly life. Swargalok is not eternal, na? It will be very long, but it will also be finished. Tetvam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punyam martyalokam vishanti. We go to heavenly planets, we can go all we want, but again we have to come down when our piety or punya karya result is finished. So thus they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings and who therefore never attain actual happiness. King, royal, he is living in a palace, but he has rivalry with other kings, like Ukraine and Russia now fighting. Or this Kremlin, this Vladimir Putin is the richest man. Actually, quietly he is the richest man in the world, more than even Elon Musk. Elon Musk himself admitted, Vladimir Putin is way richer than me. There is no comparison. Now, Russia is of course never listed in the rich or what, they are sidelined. So that's why there is no data from there. But actually he is more rich than Elon Musk. Now, you may think, he must be enjoying. No, he is fighting now. They are having sanctions, so many problems he is having. So they never attain actual happiness. So that is one side. On the other side, whatever happiness they have, that will blind them. This is the real thing. This is the real problem. This is our problems, okay? The real problem is this. Let's go to... What is that? Chapter? The demigod, 519. You see, we want to go to heaven, right? The Swargaloka people, the Devatas, they want to come to earth. Let's see this. Comedy. You see, Etadeva hi deva gayanti. Aho amisham kimakari shobhanam prasanna esham sviduta swayam harih yair janmalabdham nirshubharata jire mukunda seva upaikam sprihahinaha. Since the human form, these devatas are saying this in the Swargalok. Those who want Swargaprapta, they are what they are saying. Since the human form of life is a sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in heaven speak in this way. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatavarsha, India. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead must have been very pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human births in Bharatvarsha to execute devotional service, but these human beings are already engaged there. Devatas are saying, I want to be born in India. Indians are coming out, I want to go Singapore, I want to go America, I want to go Canada. Canada, good prospect now. We are thinking like that, but Devatas are saying, I want to be born in India. You see, Indians, how unfortunate, they cannot understand their own treasure. And so next, they further comment. Kim dushkarair na kratubhistapo vratair danadibhirva dyujayena phalguna nayatra narayana pada pankaja smriti pramushtat tishayendriyotsavat indriya utsavat. Due to material sense gratification. The demigods continue. After performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows and giving charity, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of heavenly planets. How did we get here? We have done tapasya, we have done Vedic sacrifices, we have done so much study of the Vedas, all these things, vratas and dāna, we have done so many things and came to now heavenly planets. But what is the use? What is the value of this achievement? Devatas are saying. What is the value of this achievement? Here, we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten His lotus feet. This is the problem with happiness. This is the problem with happiness. The 4 kinds of pious people who come to Krishna, 7.16, the distressed come, but the happy people never come. Materially happy people never come. They are not mentioned in those 4. Distressed, desirer of wealth, those who have wealth, they don't come. Desirer of wealth will come. But the possessor of wealth won't come. The distressed will come. Happy people won't come. And then inquisitive. He has no question. He is happy. Because when you are happy, why will you have questions? Just enjoying, you will not have questions. And then the wise, Jnani, who understands the value of spiritual life, he will come. But happy, so-called material happy, they don't come. Then you may ask, he is happy now, why should he come? No, he is happy like what? Like the goat, before he is being slaughtered, another goat is being slaughtered, but this goat is just there, not even running. There is some danger, sir, this guy is killing everybody, come, let's run. No, he will just happily eating grass, that guy is being killed, okay, eating grass, and the next he will also be killed. Goat is like this. There is no brain, they don't even try. So that is our happiness. Our happiness is in complete ignorance of the danger that we are in. That is our happiness. You may say, hey, he is happy now, why? What is wrong? Why should he go to, he is happy? Happiness is what we want. But what kind of happiness? I'll show you what kind of happiness it is. What is that? Yeah. क्षुद्रं चरं सुमनसां शरणे मिथित्वा रक्तं षडङ्घ्रिगणसामसुलुब्धकर्णम् अग्रे वृकानसुत्रिपो विगणय्य यान्तं पृष्ठे मृगं मृगयलुब्धकबाणभिन्नम्. My dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. Very romantic, right? That deer is very much attached to his business and he is enjoying the sweet singing of the bumblebees in his garden. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware, this is our happiness, like the deer. We are romantically enjoying in this material world, but he is unaware that before him is a tiger, which is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind the deer is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with sharp arrows. Thus the deer's death is imminent. I found there was some interesting facts about the deer. You know what is peculiar about the deer? We have our vision. It has 3 colors, 3 primary colors we can see, and all their mixtures. But for the deer, they can only see 2. So the lines of the tiger, the stripes of the tiger's skin, are completely invisible to the deer. There was a documentary on the National Geographic I was watching once. Then there was this deer and there was this tiger. All trees were there in the shadow of the tree, and the tiger was not really hiding. His face was quite visible among the trees. But this deer in front of him, but he could not see. I was wondering, how is he not seeing? I mean, it's right in front of him. How is he not seeing? So then the commentator, he was explaining this thing. I think some of you know David Attenborough. David Attenborough. He is he is the most famous wildlife commentator on the TV and all this YouTube and all, from UK. He is now 95 years old. He is still doing the same job. Very dangerous, because next life I don't know what is going to be. He is always looking for animals and birds and insects and everything, plants. He is a conservation activist and whatnot. So he was telling this thing that they only now for us it appears that it's very visible. Then he said they only see 2 colors, and the camera work, the cameraman, that editing they showed as if how the deer sees, absolutely invisible. The tiger was completely merged in surrounding. You can't even see the tiger there. Whereas for us, it's right there. How can the deer not see, we will think. But when he made the screen as how the deer sees. Oh, it's not even there. I was, wow, this is how the deer sees it. So then I remembered this verse. Wow, how perfect this Bhagavatam is. For us, it's but this is actually when science. I mean, with the camera, when you show it, then you wow, this is actually real. And so then in front of him is a tiger. He can't see the danger. Behind him is a hunter, and he is having romance with his wife. So the so-called happy people in this world are like that. They are so-called enjoying, but actually their death is imminent. At any time they can be attacked and finished. Bad time is just round the corner. When we are having good time, bad time is just round the corner, that's all. It's not good time, it's just bad time is round the corner. It's just next step. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. This material world is a place, every step is a danger. It's a danger, not just a little bit sad or it's a danger actually. When I drive, I feel this, especially when I drive while being tired. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. I remember that verse so much. Because when you're driving and when you're feeling sleepy, you're just seconds away from a disaster, complete disaster. Seconds only, just a split second. So that is how we are just driving. But so what actually is required to not fall into the trap of this danger of Māyā? Alertness. Just like when we are driving, if you are a little alert, that's all it requires to be safe on the road. Only inattention will cause us problems. Of course, sometimes some unfortunate fellow will just ram through the traffic red lights, and that's when we can't do anything about it. But much of it is our own problem. So just attention, that's all. So we have to be attentive. We have to be attentive to what? To the workings of Māyā. And we have to be focused, just like a driver is focused on his road. So we have to be focused on our road. Not that, somebody, my father used to say like this. When he was driving car, so we were sitting in the back seat, and our mother will be sitting in the front seat there. So sometimes, hey, see this, we call him Nanagaru. Oh, father, see this. He always calls her, don't show me anything while I'm driving. We never really got it because we were just kids, why is he always like this? But when you grow up, then you understand why. Because you have to be focused on the road. You can't be even looking at that building or that person or this. You can't even have a little inattention. It is danger. So that's how a devotee should be. No, let's have some, little bit of Māyā enjoyment first. No. Always focus. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam patastad kavayo vadanti. This is a very hard, very dangerous path, life in this material world. So therefore we have to be alert. Like the blade, we are shaving. Kshurasya dhara. So the blade, when we are shaving, it is sharp. Actually you can kill a person with that. So if you are inattentive, then we do sideways, we look like we came out of a slashing incident, some sword fight. If you do sideways, if you do like this, okay, fine, and that too the angle must be right. So if not, finished. So it requires attention only. So the disaster and safety, the only dividing line is attention. So our attention, we have to be attentive to the real path of life and tread that path, sadhana bhakti. That's why we have to have a very solid sadhana, that path which Guru gave us, Srila Prabhupada gave us. We don't have to search out, how to be, what is the path, what is the... No, he has given us all the path along with guardrails to, even save us from falling apart from the path, wayward. So, what is that? Association of devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, reading the books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Always keep reading because you have to feed your brain with Krishna consciousness. material. Otherwise, we will be fed with Māyā, material. She will feed. If you are not reading, if you don't read Bhagavad Gita, we are without our effort, our ears are open. Our mouth may be closed, eyes may be closed, ear will be open. Nonsense will come inside. And we will be influenced. So we have to, there is no choice that, I'll try, I'll do once in a while. No, every day. Otherwise, if I say, this is my wish, I read or not, why are you forcing me? Yeah. But then you are forced by Māyā to hear what she has to say. If you are not forcing yourself to hear what Krishna has to say, you are forced. If you say, why are you forcing me? Then, okay, I won't force you, Māyā will force you. Which force you want? Good force or bad force? That's all. It's not that I have freedom, I can do whatever I like. No, you cannot do whatever you like. You will be either kicked by Māyā or you will be welcomed by Krishna, that's it. Choose, that's all. Either this force or that force. Good force is better than bad force. So better to force ourselves to live. And actually once we start, we will not be able to stop. It is very, very pleasurable. Susukham kartum avyayam rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitramidam uttamam pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. It is very enjoyable to practice this bhakti yoga. So of course, so many things are there in this verse, but this is summary of this verse. So please take to Krishna consciousness. That is the only way you can come out. That's, if you never understand anything, one thing. Surrender to Krishna, only then we can go out of Māyā. Surrender starts with chanting Hare Krishna. That's it. Chant is his name. So that is the first step in surrender. And that is also actually the end of surrender. The person who is perfect in surrender, he also chants the holy name like Haridas Thakur. But that chanting is on a totally different level. There are 3 stages of chanting. Nam Aparad, Nam Abhas and Shuddha Nam. Now we are doing in Nam Aparad. We are doing Aparad also. Willingly, unwillingly. But we still are chanting. Okay, that is the first stage of chanting. Then there is Nam Abhas, when the offenses will end. There are no more offenses, no more committing of offenses. And then there is Shuddha Nam, chanting with pure love of Godhead. So the pure devotees, they chant in that stage. So the highest end is also chanting the name. The name of Krishna and Krishna are non-different. So you don't have to be despondent saying, oh, Krishna is not here now. Krishna was there 5,000 years ago, now I cannot see him, No, when we chant Krishna, Krishna is already there on our tongue. His name is non-different from him. It's different from a material world. The substance and the name is different. Like water. If I am thirsty, I have to drink the substance water. I cannot chant the name water and I can become quenched of my thirst. No. But Krishna, when we chant his name, we are associating with Krishna already. Now if we can do that without offenses, our life is success. So how does it start? Prabhu, okay, good. I will stop all my offenses and then start chanting. No. One can come out of offenses only by starting chanting first, even in the offensive stage. Start first. And then eventually one will come to that stage. So if you have not started chanting, please start chanting and take one book and start reading. And you finish your book, go to the next book like this. Spend 1-2 hours a day reading before you go to bed or something. Read. Alright, I'll stop here. Any questions or comments on this topic?
Durga Devi is conducting all this.
Yeah.
That means Brahma, Vishnu, they are also how conducting this. How do we understand?
So actually, if you see, Brahma is, so the question is for those who are online who can't hear the question. So we understand that Shiva is in charge of destruction and Vishnu is in charge of maintenance and Brahma is in charge of creation. So if they 3 are in charge of Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya, why it is said Durga is in charge of Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya together? All 3. Because if you see, Brahma is in the mode of passion, or he is in charge of the mode of passion, rather. And Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance, Tamoguna. And Rajoguna is in charge is Brahma. And Sattvaguna, of course, Lord Vishnu is in Shuddha Sattva, but he is in charge of Sattvaguna. But Daivi Hesha Gunamayi, all the 3 guna, The three gunas are in Māyā only. Influenced by the mode of passion, Brahma creates. Influenced by the mode of ignorance, Lord Shiva destroys. That is the influence of the ignorance, destruction. So, but Gunamayi is Durga is there. So actually she is in charge of the all three actually. They are there as personalities, in charge of a particular mode, but she is conducting everything. Because Māyā is existing even in the Pradhan and Prakriti stage. Before even these gunas even come out, which cause all these different manifestations, she is already existing. So, like you see, the lotus came and then the lotus flower, Brahma was born. But the lotus flower came from where? Vishnu. And that is already, the material shell was already made. That is, and the ingredients all were there already. So Māyā's presence was already there before even Brahma came. And of course Shiva is Sadashiva is there. But Rudra again came from the eyebrow of Brahma. So she is already there before that. What Brahma did was manipulate the ingredients to create all these planets and life forms and such. But otherwise she is already there. So it's like that. I think there is something on the online. Interesting that in the Russian translation it says that one sees his own self and rejoices in it. So it's not about super soul in our translation. Actually, there is a quote by Srila Prabhupada, self-realization means self and super self. So both. So we realize both. Only when we understand super self, actually we can understand self also properly. Then the other question is 1.3.37. Okay, this is interesting. So, similar verse as Kunti Devi's prayers, 1.3.37, where so Dimitri from Russia, the one who is commenting is from Russia. War is going on, but you see, devotees are there. Yesterday there was a video of them doing Sankirtan on the streets in Russia. That is devotee. Even in hell you will do. Yes. The foolish with a poor fund of knowledge cannot know the transcendental nature of the forms, names and activities of the Lord who is playing like an actor in a drama. Nor can they express such things neither in their speculations nor in their words. Similar verse of Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Na chasya kaschin nipunena dhatur avaiti jantu kumanisha uti namani rupani manovachobhi santan vato nata chariyam ivagnya. Anything else? Divya Mataji is Prabhuji, very interesting point mentioned while describing Krishna's headache and Narad Muni's search of dust for pure devotees. Narad Muni himself is a pure devotee. I never noticed this. Thank you. No, Divya Mataji is saying, she is actually from Tirupati. So she is saying, Prabhu, here some devotees are there, they are devoted in some services like applying turmeric and kumkum on the footsteps at Tirumala steps, but are not interested in taking one book also. This is actually the problem with many Hindus. They will do some, some bottu, some breaking coconut or some, everything they will do, except to open the book and read. Knowledge is not there. Simply do some, archana, some abhishekam, something. They will do everything else but open the book. This yajna, that homam, this, everything. Yeah, the book also they will put kumkum and the pasupu. What is this? Turmeric. They will put turmeric and kumkum, and then even their textbooks also. So put. Reading is not happening. If at all you find, I always go to this businessman's office. I gave him, one time I gave donations, I gave him Bhagavad Gita. Please read. You are making money and money, you please read first. So he said, okay. Then next time I went, it was nice, very nicely, wrapped in a yellow cloth and put in the altar. And put dhoop. I asked him, where is the book that I gave you the other day? Yeah, in the altar, see, I'm worshipping every day. Where? Then he said, inside the cloth, that yellow cloth, inside the cloth is a book. Oh, you have wrapped it nicely so that you will never have to open it. Huh? What is the use of doing arati to the book? Worshipping the book means open the book and read, no? That is worshipping the book. Krishna is talking to us through the book. Okay, I think that's the end of all the questions. Any other questions or comments? Huh?
Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, today's purport, it mentioned that they cannot liberate. But we have a sampradaya, Brahma sampradaya and Buddha sampradaya, with which the liberation is done. And how we understand, because they are each other different modes.
So the question is, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot give liberation to anybody, but there are Vaishnava Sampradayas starting from Brahma and Shiva, Brahma Sampradaya and Rudra Sampradaya. So they are acharyas and they are offering liberation to, because they are acharyas, they can offer liberation, right? So yes, as in the capacity of a spiritual master, yes. But that post of Brahma, in that post they cannot. So, and Shiva also. In that post as Shiva, no. But as a spiritual master, yes, of course. Brahma Sampradaya. Yeah, Narad Muni is Brahma's disciple. Alright, so land it here. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanandi.